Hello and welcome to the video. My name is Danielle Bellinger. Today I'm going to be going over 5 tips on building lean muscle, how to do it, and how I've done it personally. So let's get right into it. So I recently got my in-body scan done, which is a body fat scan, and I've been doing these for about 2 years now. So I have data on my body fat and muscle gain all the way back to 2018. And over this last year, I have been able to gain 5 pounds of muscle while staying fairly lean for my height, weight, age, and gender. So I'm really excited to share these tips with you on how I did it. And this is also part of my Grow and Glow series. Over these last 10 weeks, I have been working on gaining lean muscle through my Grow and Glow series, and this is a free workout plan that I put up on YouTube, so all the videos are already filmed and on my channel, and there's also a 10-week training guide included that's completely free. So go down to the description box to download. There's 2 different phases, so make sure you download both phases, and without further ado, let's get into my 5 tips. All right, tip number 1 is doing the right type of workouts. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to gain muscle by doing body weight and yoga and walking. You have to put your body under resistance. Now, that's not to say you can't tone and gain muscle doing body weight. It's just going to take you a whole lot longer than actually lifting with weights and doing resistance training. Not that you shouldn't do any body weight workouts because you're going to be using them for your warm-up and for HIIT workouts, but the bulk of your training should be resistance training because that's going to be the most effective way to gain lean muscle. Also, focusing on compound lifts is going to really help you increase muscle mass. So the compound lifts are squat, deadlift, bent over row, bench press, and overhead press. And there can be different variations of this as well. So something like a back lunge or a single arm row also fit into the category of compound lifts. These lifts are going to work multiple muscle groups at once, which is going to help you gain more muscle, help you burn more calories, and get more out of your workout. I also highly suggest that you're on a program and not just doing random workouts all the time, like picking different workouts off Instagram and just doing something random. Because when you're on a program, you can actually track your progress, track how many reps you're doing, track how much weight you're lifting, how you're able to increase and improve week by week. Tip number 2 is to increase the volume of your training. So the volume of your training is the weight that you're lifting times the reps times the sets. So to increase the volume, you can increase your weight, you can increase your reps, or you can increase your sets. It's been proven that the most effective way to gain muscle is to lift with 8 to 12 reps and with 3 to 5 sets. You can do different variations of it, but I would just try to keep it within those ranges so that you're doing it the most effective way. You also want to focus on progressive overload. This is gradually increasing the stress put on your body, and this can be done through increasing the weight, increasing the frequency, or increasing the reps. That's why it's important to be on a program and track how you're progressing. You don't want to be lifting the same weight for the entire program. You want to continually push yourself and challenge yourself to increase the volume in your training. And a great way to do this, and the way I love to do this, is through time under tension training. So an example of this could be if you're doing a bicep curl and you go up for 1 second and then down for 1 second, you could implement time under tension by going up for 1 second and then going slow for 3 seconds on the way down. That's going to put more tension on the muscle, which actually helps to grow your muscles. You could also implement pauses in your training. So if you're doing a squat, you could pause at the bottom of the squat for 1 to 2 seconds. You could also do a pulse at the bottom of the squat. And these are all great ways to increase the progressive overload in your training. Tip number 3 is to not cut out all of your cardio. Now, some people will tell you to cut out all of your cardio when you're trying to gain muscle. But when you're trying to minimize the amount of fat that you're gaining, cardio can be your friend. So my suggestion is to do 1 to 2 days of HIIT training at the end of your workout. The reason you're going to do this at the end of your workout is so that you're not using all of your energy towards your cardio session. You're going to use most of your effort towards your weight training. And then at the end of your workout, you'll do 10 to 20 minutes of HIIT training. You can do this in a lot of different ways. You can do it on a bike, a rower. You can do a circuit style with body weight exercises. You could do some abs. You could do sprints on the treadmill. And another one of my tips is to download the interval timer app because it'll time for you. So instead of counting reps, you can do it for time. So a lot of times I'll do 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off, or 30 on, 30 off. A lot of different variations you can do. But that is a very helpful app so that you don't have to focus on the time or the reps. Now, there is an exception for this. If you are someone that is on the skinnier side, you have a really high metabolism, and it's hard for you to gain any type of weight, it would make sense for you to cut out all of your cardio. So just keep that in mind. It does depend on your body type. Tip number 4 is to eat enough calories, but to not overdo it. You want to be in a calorie surplus because you can't grow muscle out of nothing. And you also don't want to go overboard with your calories so that you're gaining a ton of excess fat. When you're focusing on putting on muscle, it's inevitable that you will put on some fat, but your goal is to put on minimal fat as possible. And that's why they call it a lean bulk, because you're not simply just bulking and trying to gain as much weight as possible. You're gradually gaining weight because you're trying to put on that muscle while minimizing the amount of fat that you're putting on as well. So the first step is to figure out what your maintenance calories are. And I'll put a link in the description box for you guys to go and figure out what your maintenance calories are. But once you figure that out, you're going to add 10 to 15% of your calories on top of that number. You also want to focus on eating quality food. This is not an excuse to go crazy, eat a bunch of fast food, go on weekend benders, and just completely fall off track. Yes, you're increasing your calories, but you want it to be high quality, real food, lean proteins, lots of vegetables still, fruits, high quality complex carbs. Avoid going crazy on sugar and processed food. That's just a general rule. There's no time that is considered healthy. You don't necessarily have to track your macros. It can be a very helpful tool, especially if you've never tracked your macros and you don't understand how many calories you actually need or you're not familiar with that practice. But if you are someone that's pretty familiar with what your body needs, you're pretty in tune with the amount of protein you need to eat, the amount of fat and carbs, then you can just intuitively eat. But if you are someone that needs to have more structure, I do suggest tracking your macros. It'll help just keep the process a lot cleaner and smoother for you. And the last tip, you might have seen this one coming, but it's to eat enough protein. The suggestion is to eat 0.75 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And really, this is per pound of desired body weight. So if you're 150 pounds and you'd like to be 140 pounds, then you would use 140 as your base number. Okay, let's say you're going to shoot for 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. You would use that body weight number, multiply it by 0.85, and then that would give you the amount of grams of protein to eat per day. If you're an athlete and you train hard, then you can go closer to the 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. But if you're not an athlete, or maybe you're someone that's vegan or vegetarian, you can go on the lower end of that. So do what works for you and test out to see what your body responds best to. And those are my 5 tips. If you found it helpful, please give me a like and comment down below if you learned anything today or which tip you found most helpful. And also don't forget to download the 10-week training guide for Grow and Glow. Again, that link is down in the description box. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. I love you. Please subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.